In this video today, I want to address the idea of early social development. This is the social development between your child who is younger than 5 and other people, family members and little friends and so on. And you might think, well, doesn't that just develop automatically? And the answer is no. And because some social development will occur naturally, biologically, but if you want the most successful opportunity to help your kids, then you would actually learn how to promote children's social skills and a variety of things, and they can be practiced and the children can implement them. So here's what you do. You would set an example, tell your child what you're doing, then you'd ask the child to practice with you, and then when you're in a social situation, you would say, here's what you need to learn to do in a grocery store or in the car or with friends. So you link the social behavior to a situation or a context. Now, why? Most of this episode is about why. Why do that? As it turns out, there's so much importance attached to this that the why is big, really big, because it can affect children's success in a variety of areas. So the more socially confident and successful they are starting at age 2 and going on through 5 matters a great deal. So for example, the friendships that they have and the number of them and the kind they have are important for emotional and social development. So you get these little kids playing together and they have what is called parallel play. They don't play with each other to begin with, they just play around each other. And then gradually over time, they begin what is called collaborative play, which means they're actually trading toys, sharing, and doing other kinds of things. But beyond that, friendships, especially during this period of time, help children feel close or to establish intimacy. Now, why is that important? Well, being close to other human beings is characterized by higher levels of achievement, better emotional health and well-being, and opportunities for success. Isn't that strange that so much relies on social skills? So one thing you could do, for example, if you live around parents of other young children, is to arrange play dates where some children come and be at your home and you can play for an hour or two, go to another home, people that you trust, and help your kids develop friendships. Now, the reason why this works is because the friendship skills that your children learn transfer or generalize to other children. So you could teach them how to meet others, how to be polite, how to give compliments, how to express themselves, and so on. So one of the things we want to do in this friendship is to help children learn how to manage conflict. They'll have disputes with kids and they'll get angry and frustrated. And so if it gets too intense, then you might want to separate them for a while. But please, before that happens, say, come here and sit down with me. And we're going to learn a good way to talk and share ideas so that you can be friends. And if you don't do that, the tendency for kids is to just end the relationship and say, I don't want to be his friend anymore, or her friend. And that's a bad form of behavior because you typically cannot withdraw from people in your lifetime. So if your marriage is unhappy, you can just say, I don't want to pay attention to that person anymore. No, you can't. You're with a person and you need to be available to them and so on. So they need to learn things like peer acceptance. They need to learn to be gracious with others. They need to learn to participate in several situations, mealtime and so on. I know a set of parents, for example, who had 4 or 5 kids and they were not good at mealtime. And so what they decided to do is to have practice sessions. So they'd have the food ready, all the kids, and they would come and they would practice talking and listening and how to have it. And if the kids didn't get it right, they'd say, oh, too bad, we haven't learned yet, so we're going to practice more. Well, the kids caught on, and pretty soon now they're demonstrating the positive social behavior that the parents have taught them in order to have food and to eat, which I think is a good thing. Well, they also need to learn kindness and giving and gratitude. Now, let me focus on that. In our society today, for some reason, a lot of gratitude has been lost in the lives of our children. Children don't take apples to their school teachers. They don't thank people for things that are done or to thank them for friendship. Well, I propose that you emphasize saying thank you and expressing gratitude to a variety of people, children's teachers, to other friends, to your spouse, to your siblings, your child's siblings, and help them to be grateful because it's a positive social skill. Well, so what kind of parent leadership do you want? Well, the old-fashioned leadership was authoritative versus democratic versus authoritarian. Now, instead of that leadership, do this. We want a type of leadership that uses the family to help kids learn. A. B. We want leadership to be adapted to the age of the child, to the social conditions around the child, so you're providing leadership which takes into account the internet and other forms of technology. And it's pretty crucial that this leadership be consistent, warm and loving and kind and communicative over time. Well, why do that? Well, the advantages are that you get children who are better able to adapt and change. The kids who can't adapt or make changes emotionally have trouble socially. You also will get children who understand how to communicate and receive warmth and affection. Children who have parents who are responsible in mentoring them will have kids that have better behavior socially. They'll also be better able to express their feelings. Why that, you think? Well, emotions and feelings, as it turns out, is the core of social relationships. So if you want your children to be successful with members of the other gender, with other friends, then teach them to be good at reading and interpreting and expressing and understanding their own feelings. And lastly, if you have this kind of parent leadership, you'll have the children who have much more confidence socially. They'll be able to control themselves emotionally, and their school performance will be better. Well, why? Because they will be able to adapt successfully at the social and emotional requirements of a classroom and with an adult person who has authority. It's amazing, absolutely amazing, that so many children come into school who are not socially and emotionally prepared. Then they're sent to resource because they're difficult in the classroom, but they're not mentally limited. And they're doing this, and the number of kids or the percent of kids who are sent to resource in public schools every year increases 10 to 15%, which means that we parents need to get on the ball and get much better teaching our children positive social skills.